Welcome back to Shadows of Justice, where ordinary homes can hide secrets darker than any crime scene. Tonight's story is about a woman who had everything until she realized she had nothing at all. A story of betrayal so elaborate, so cold, that when the truth finally surfaced, it shattered not just one life, but three. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe, because once you hear what happened inside the Collins household, you'll understand why some dinners should never be served. This is the story of Emily Collins, and the dinner that changed everything. To everyone watching from the outside, Emily and Daniel Collins were the kind of couple people envied. Their relationship looked like something out of a magazine, edited, polished, flawless. Emily Collins, 37, was the warm and intuitive school counselor. Students trusted her with their darkest fears, and parents thanked her during PTA meetings. She was soft-spoken, compassionate, reliable. Daniel Collins, 41, was the charming ethics professor at the local community college, charismatic, articulate, always wearing that calm, thoughtful smile that could disarm anyone. Together, they looked like the definition of stability. Their home was the image of domestic success: polished hardwood floors, framed travel photos, warm yellow lamps that made every room feel inviting. Neighbors often commented, "They're the perfect match." But perfection is sometimes just the neatest disguise a lie can wear. And for years, Emily ignored the shadows in the corners. The truth rarely arrives in explosions. It starts in whispers. Emily first noticed Daniel's distance a year earlier. Tiny changes she tried to explain away. He became strangely protective of his phone. He turned away when messages came in. Late nights became routine with vague lines like research meeting, student emergency, just finishing up at the office. He seemed present but absent, like a ghost playing the role of her husband. Emily tried to justify everything, reminding herself of his stressful career. But the ache wouldn't go away. Sometimes she would wake up at night and just watch him sleep, wondering when exactly he had drifted away from her. But the cold November morning that followed would prove something Emily wasn't ready to admit. She wasn't losing him. She had already lost him. Emily walked into Daniel's home office to leave him a fresh cup of coffee, something she had done 100 times. But that day, that act of kindness became the doorway into a nightmare. Daniel's laptop was open. A glowing photo filled the entire screen. It took Emily's breath away. Daniel, holding 2 small children, smiling in a way she hadn't seen in years. A woman pressed her lips to his cheek, their faces close, comfortable, loving. The caption read, "Family Day with my world, heart." Emily froze. The sound in the room disappeared. No ticking clock, no hum of the heater, nothing. Just the pounding of her heart in her ears. She whispered to herself, No, this must be old. This must be a mistake." But when she touched the mouse, the screen shifted to the next photo. And another. And another. 3 people, 4. A family. Not hers. Daniel Collins wasn't living a double life. He had created an entirely different universe, one where Emily wasn't even a footnote. Her knees nearly buckled. The coffee mug shook in her hand until a droplet spilled onto Daniel's papers, leaving a dark, spreading circle on his papers. Emily stood there for almost 5 minutes before she could breathe properly again. And then the curiosity, the awful, irresistible curiosity took over. Her fingers moved on their own. Click, scroll,
Click. Every new photo was an explosion inside her chest. Emily didn't confront Daniel. She couldn't. Confrontation would end things, and she needed to understand them first. So she did something she never imagined she would do. She became a silent investigator in her own marriage. For 2 weeks, Emily followed a routine that made her feel like she was living 2 lives. Morning, pack his lunch, kiss him goodbye, pretend everything was normal. Afternoon, follow Marissa's social media, gather photos, screenshot posts, save dates. Evening, sit across from Daniel at the dinner table, smiling while his lies sat like ghosts between them. Night, cry quietly into her pillow until exhaustion took her.
And every day she learned something new. The woman's name was Marissa Collins. Yes, Collins. Daniel had given them his last name. A detail so cold it nearly made Emily vomit. Marissa's posts were sickeningly sincere. She wrote about Daniel with love in her words, the kind of love Emily once believed she had. Worse, the children in the photos looked comfortable around him. One called him Daddy in a birthday post. Emily had spent years thinking Daniel didn't want kids. He always said, "It's just not the right time." Or, "We should focus on us." Or, "Let's enjoy our freedom." But the truth was crystal clear now. He didn't want kids with her. He saved that dream for someone else. Then came the post that didn't just hurt. It destroyed. Marissa wrote, "Daniel says Emily never wanted children. I'm grateful he found what he always needed with us." Emily's hands shook violently. Her lungs tightened. Her throat burned. She whispered through tears, "He told her that? He told her that about me?" Daniel knew better than anyone that Emily yearned for children. He knew about the doctor's visits, the failed treatments, the night she cried into his chest whispering, "I just want to be a mother." He knew, and he used her pain as the explanation for his betrayal, a lie that turned Emily into the villain of a story she never knew she was in. That night, Emily sat at the dining table long after the lights were off. The house felt huge, empty, cold. And for the first time, the love she once had for Daniel didn't just fade, it curdled into something sharp. Resolve. He wasn't going to walk away from this untouched. Emily didn't scream. She didn't rage. She didn't break things. That wasn't her nature. She was calm, collected. So she messaged Marissa, "We need to talk. You deserve to know the truth about Daniel." Marissa responded almost instantly. There was confusion in her words, panic in her punctuation. Emily could feel the fear through the screen. They exchanged messages for over an hour, careful, cautious, devastating messages that unraveled Daniel's elaborate deceit piece by piece. Marissa wasn't the enemy. Emily realized that with surprising speed. She was as blindsided, as manipulated, as deeply betrayed as Emily herself. And after everything was laid bare, Emily wrote, "Come to my house. Bring the children." Marissa hesitated, but curiosity and devastation have a strange gravity. She agreed. Emily spent the afternoon preparing the house, meticulously setting the dinner table. Not out of hospitality, out of purpose. She wanted Daniel to see everything. Wanted him to face the collapse of his own making. When the doorbell rang, Emily's heartbeat steadied. Her body felt unnaturally calm. She opened the door to find Marissa standing there, 2 children holding her hands, their innocent faces carrying confusion and fear. Emily smiled gently. "Please, come in." Minutes later, Daniel came down the hallway, humming lightly, loosening his tie until he saw them. His body froze. Color drained from his face so quickly it was almost alarming. His mouth fell open. His fingers shook. "Emily, what is this?" he whispered. She looked at him with an expression he had never seen. Not anger, not sadness, something harder. A family dinner. Yours. The atmosphere in the dining room was suffocating. No one touched their food. Marissa's eyes stayed down. The children stared at Daniel like they were waiting for him to explain why their world suddenly felt wrong. Daniel's fork stayed untouched. His breathing was shallow. Emily was the only one who seemed steady. Finally, she spoke. Daniel, tell us how long this has been happening. A question that held the weight of betrayal. Silence. Then softly, Marissa said, 6 years. Emily blinked. She knew it was bad, but she hadn't known it was a third of her marriage. Daniel swallowed hard. He opened his mouth. It wasn't meant to go this far. Emily cut him off sharply. How many lies did you tell? Like saying, I refuse to have children. Marissa's head snapped up. Her eyes widened. You told me she didn't want them. Emily shook her head, voice trembling but firm. My body can't carry a pregnancy. Daniel knew that, and he refused adoption, not me.
Marissa covered her mouth with trembling fingers. The truth sat like a blade between them. That was when Daniel snapped. He slammed his hands on the table. You ruined this, he screamed. You pushed me away. You made me feel unwanted. The children burst into tears. Marissa pulled them close. Emily laughed. One short, heartbroken laugh. Daniel, you lived 2 lives. You destroyed this marriage long before tonight. He looked around the room at the faces of the people he lied to, and something inside him broke. He stormed out of the house, and the night swallowed him whole. Nearly an hour passed. Emily stared out the window, her eyes following the path of fresh snow leading into the woods behind their house. Then she saw him, staggering through the trees, drunk, furious, unraveling. She grabbed her coat. Marissa whispered, Be careful. Emily nodded silently. The woods were quiet, except for the crunch of snow under her boots. She spotted Daniel standing at the edge of the old pond, its surface covered with dangerously thin ice. Daniel, she called softly, come off the ice. He spun around. His eyes were wild, red, spinning from alcohol and panic. You destroyed everything, he shouted. You brought them here. You humiliated me. Emily took a step forward. Daniel, get off the ice. It's not safe. He stepped back. The ice groaned beneath him. A long, jagged crack formed. His face changed, anger collapsing into fear. Emily, please help me. Then the ice snapped, and Daniel plunged into the freezing water. Emily! He shouted desperately, trashing desperately, clawing at the edges. For a moment, Emily reached out, but only for a moment. Memories hit her like waves. The lies, the manipulation, the stolen years, the cruelty she didn't recognize until too late. She whispered, You drowned this family long before tonight. Daniel's voice choked. His hands slipped. His cries faded into bubbling gasps. And then, silence. Emily didn't smile. She didn't cry. She simply turned and walked back home. Inside, Marissa was holding her children tightly. Emily whispered, He won't be coming back. The police arrived shortly after. Rescue teams pulled Daniel's body from the water the next morning. His blood alcohol level, 3 times the legal limit. His footprints showed he walked onto the ice by himself. Emily's prints stopped safely at the edge. Detectives questioned her intensely. Did you push him? No. Did you encourage him? No. Did you try to save him? I called out. He slipped. Every part of her story matched the evidence. The case was ruled accidental death. Marissa hugged Emily when the investigation ended, not in celebration, but in shared grief. For 6 years, he made me believe you were the reason he wasn't happy, she whispered. You saved my children from growing up inside a lie. Emily didn't respond. She didn't trust herself to speak. A month later, she sold the house. Too many memories. Too many ghosts. She moved to a small cottage near the ocean, a place where waves erased footprints faster than people could leave them. On her first night, she walked along the shoreline, the sky turning gold and purple as the sun set. She closed her eyes and inhaled deeply. For the first time in years, her chest didn't ache, her heart didn't tremble, her future didn't feel like a cage. Emily Collins was free. Daniel could never hurt anyone again. Justice, cold, natural, and inevitable, had finally been served. Thank you for watching this chilling episode of Shadows of Justice. Tonight's story teaches us something powerful. A lie can build a beautiful house, but the truth always chooses the right moment to knock it down. If this story kept you watching to the end, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay safe, stay smart, and never ignore the cracks beneath your feet.